centers on.
Yeah, that's right, Kate. And to understand what happened, you have to consider the layout of this home and the two competing narratives that we're hearing. Let's start in the bedroom, because that's where Oscar Pistorius' story begins and what he has to say about it. He says in the early morning hours of Valentine's Day, he and his girlfriend were in bed, and he got up in the darkness to go to the balcony to retrieve a fan and to close a window. Unbeknownst to him, he says, she got up too and went to the bathroom. Then he started to go back inside. That's where this whole story gets very, very strange. And I want to fly you through the house to follow his story. He says as he comes in off the balcony, the room is very, very dark, and he thinks that she's still lying in bed over there. Remember, he doesn't have his prosthetic legs on. He's moving around on what's left of his natural legs, so his angle would also be lower. But he does hear a noise down that hallway. There have been break-ins before. There have been problems in the neighborhood. He's had death threats. He gets his pistol from under the bed, he says, and he goes down that hall. As he rounds the corner, he sees an open window, and he hears noise inside that locked room in front of you where the toilet is. He thinks there's an intruder there, according to his story. He begins yelling out for the intruder to leave. He starts yelling out for his girlfriend, Reva, behind him to protect herself, and then he suggests he essentially panics. He's so afraid he begins shooting through the door. Only when he comes back into the room and turns the lights on to put on his prosthetic legs does he say that it occurs to him that maybe something else has happened because she's not there. And he goes back to the bathroom and smashes the door down. Indeed, she is there, and he starts calling for help, Kate. That's his version of what happened in this house.
Okay, so that's the defense's story, but then what do prosecutors say actually happened in their view?
Yeah, very different view, very different. They say it was never dark and confusing here. The lights were on the whole time, and the reason the lights were on because they say this couple was having a big argument. An argument so loud it can be heard for hundreds of yards by some witnesses who believe they heard it coming from that house. At some point, they say, she did indeed retreat to the bathroom to get away from him, and she locked the door behind herself. That's when prosecutors say he took his pistol, he went down that hall in the full light and with the full intent of pursuing her, and when he got to the locked door, he shot her through the door. The details all fit for both stories in a strange way. That's what makes this so fascinating, and how those details are parsed out in court will determine whether or not he spends a lot of time in jail or not.
Yeah, so fascinating, and we're only at the bail hearing phase of this case. That's the amazing part about it. Tom Foreman, great work. Thanks, Tom.